Just before my parents got married, my mum took the train down from Newcastle to London to see my dad. They were going to see in the new year together. My dad had left a telephone message or sent a letter or a carrier pigeon or some kind of old-fashioned form of communication to tell my mum which pub they were going to meet in. My mum finds the pub in London, but instead of going into the pub, she tries to peer through the window to see if my dad's in there. But because it's the 60s, all of the pubs have frosted glass, right? I don't know why, presumably so they can have illegal card games or strip shows in there, or maybe the glass shatters in a particular way when the Germans bomb and it's safe somehow, or maybe it's just so the working man can hide from his wife. It's not like these days where all of the bars have floor-to-ceiling windows and trying to entice you in with their sleek counters and moody lighting and a DJ on a laptop who's playing his favourite excerpts of remixes from his favourite DJ's remixes from the late 90s, which no one particularly liked back then anyway. And because it's the 60s, my mum doesn't go into the pub alone, because that's simply not done. I mean, even if it's an emergency and you know your husband is in the pub, you don't go in because it's considered uncouth to disturb the sanctity of the boozer. And even though it's not against the law, and even though my mum's been on a train for 7 hours, and even though it's bitter cold outside, and even though my mum knows my dad's in the pub and she's travelled there specifically to see him, she waits outside because she understands the code of order. So, my mum waits. And after some time, a man staggers out through the doorway, and my mum asks him politely if he can go back into the pub and see if there's a Dave Hogg there. He nods and re-enters the pub, understanding his role as messenger in this bizarre ritual. Moments later, my dad emerges from the pub and escorts my mum around to a separate doorway which leads into the lounge, an entirely separate room but within the same pub, where a man can enjoy the company of his wife or girlfriend, away from the rowdiness of the bar proper with its leering patrons and foul language. They were the days, weren't they?